liquor. Seagull hard like corn liquor. Send you out of this world like you was born. God soldiers, God soldiers. Gotta be a soldier for God. Yeah, I'm saying. Gotta be a soldier. Who trying to be on the front line? Not me. Who trying to be on the front line? Yeah, me. We about to get this thing ruled. We about to get this thing ruled. We about to get this thing ruled. Get them notes ready in case I gotta do and take some good notes. Who trying to be a soldier? Who trying to sign up for the army? Trying to sign up for the army. We back in the building. You know? We back in the building. God soldiers, if you're a soldier of God, then you part of the strongest army, you know? Like no other army could defeat you if you part of God's soldiers. If you want to God's soldiers and you part of God's army. What does that mean? What does it mean to be a part of God's army? It doesn't mean religious or spiritual. It just means you taking a position and you taking a stance that you're going to live your life in a way that is not bringing harm or detriment to you or anybody else. So it's choosing a life of positivity and elevation over all of those other kind of lifestyles that, you know, just leads to a dead end. So that's why you want to be a soldier of God. You know, you want to be and you want to become the kind of individual. Now, again, I just said it. We're not talking about spirituality. We're not talking about religion. And let me just clarify one more thing before we go deeper, right? It doesn't matter your religious affiliation and denomination. That's something that we're not going to we're not going to set ourselves up for failure by saying this is a specific channel. This is only for Christians. This is only for Muslims. This is only for Jews. No, this is for anybody that believes in God. This is for anybody that believes in a higher power. This is for anybody that even if you not focused on God and you're not focused on, you know, religion and things of that nature. This is for those who just trying to be positive and who trying to grow, who trying to uplift themselves as a whole. So that's what this is about, right? Now, let's get back to it. In terms of being a soldier of God, that means you on the front line. And this is why a lot of people choose not to be spiritual or to be religious or to follow a faith because they don't want to have to stand on the front line and defend it. You know, it's easier to play the background. It's easier, you know, to just let life happen for itself. And you feel like, oh, well, I ain't had nothing to do with that. But one thing about life is if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. That's for one, right? Second thing is what doesn't affect you directly, it affects you indirectly. Everything gonna come back around and affect you in time. Why do everything come around and affect you in time? Because life flows on what's called a continent. What a continent is like a circle. You ever heard of the saying? Everything comes full circle. Yes, sir. Yes, indeed. Everything comes full circle. So which means if something happens up here, it's going to go around and it's going to come back to you. Um, Yesterday we was talking about like self-improvement. We was talking about motivation. We was talking about taking an honest look at ourselves and see what are some of the things that we need to change. What are some of the things that we could change to make us better individuals. Why is it important to become a better individual? Because your goal, aside from making money, aside from accumulating materialism and stuff like that, your goal should ultimately be to better yourself as an individual, you know, to become the greatest possible you that you could be. Um, to any area that you may be weak in, strengthen yourself in that area. Yesterday we spoke a little bit about ignorance, right? What is ignorance? Ignorance is simply not knowing, simply not having enough information, um, in regards to a certain and specific topic. And that was kind of important because we dispelled the myth that ignorance is a negative word. Ignorant is not a negative word. Ignorance simply means that you just have a lack of knowledge, that you just don't know a lot about a certain area. Um, and some people that are ignorant, some people that don't know how to think, um, what they wind up doing is like they come on alive with negative comments. They come on alive with, negative energy, bad vibes. And the people that are really trying to learn something, the people that are really trying to fellowship and come together with like-minded people, they group get disturbed. So that's something that we don't want. We don't want nobody coming with bad or negative energy. We want this to kind of be a place where people could come through, they could feel comfortable and they could feel relaxed. They could listen to the discussion. They could listen to the information that's being presented. They could offer their opinions. They could agree or disagree. They could involve themselves in the chat, and they don't have to be spoken down on. They don't have to be violated or disrespected or talked to any kind of crazy, because the world is going to talk to us crazy enough. So we don't need to be doing that amongst each other. Um, One of the things that I want to talk about today is the importance of conversation and communication. The importance of conversation and communication. Is it important to have good conversation and communication skills? Yes, it is. Why is it important to have good conversation and communication skills? Because a lot of people don't know how to talk. A lot of people don't know how to carry on a conversation, you know? A lot of people don't know how to carry on a conversation. A lot of people speak in slang. Uh, a lot of people, the topics that they speak about is limited to certain things. Uh, Eli Stanley, can I get a quote? You want a quote? Okay, I got a good quote for you. I got a good quote for you, and after you hear the quote, tell me if you know what it means. Okay, so here go the quote. The quote goes, "A tomb now suffice. He whom the whole world is not sufficient." That's your quote. "A tomb now suffice. He whom the whole world is not sufficient." I want you to think about that for a second. I'm gonna say it one time because 3 times is the charm. "A tomb now suffice. He whom the whole world is not sufficient." That's your quote. So Eli, think about that. Tell me what you think it means in the chat. Um, Anybody else who want to take a stab at that and want to um, think about what it means and put it in the chat, then you can put it in the chat. And before you even do it, I'm gonna tell you, is no such thing as a wrong answer. When you're on this channel, is no such thing as a dumb comment when you on this channel. Because if you don't know the right answer or you don't have it figured out, then what we're gonna do is we're gonna help you get it figured out. All right. So this is just kind of exercising your mind, kind of throwing it around in your mind and seeing if you know what it means and you understand what it means, and then you share it with everybody else, right? So back to it now. We was talking about communication and why is it necessary? Why is it important? A lot of people don't know how to hold conversations. A lot of people wasn't taught to have a conversation. There's a specific term that they use for communication, right? The specific term that they use for communication is called effective communication, right? What's effective communication? Effective communication is when you could carry on a conversation with somebody. They could understand where you coming from. You could understand where they coming from. Y'all was able to be on the same page. So that's effective communication. Um, and if you look at some of my, I got a lot of videos on my channel. Um, my shorts, that's where I pretty much been focusing on like a lot of uh inspirational messages, a lot of information pertaining to, God, so forth and so on. And then when you look at, some of my other videos, you'll see me talking about various topics. And let me explain to you why. I pretty much, I briefly explained it yesterday, but when I started this page, when I started my channel, I didn't really know what I wanted to talk about. And then, getting in front of a camera and you're not used to being in front of a camera, you tend to go with things that you know. You tend to go with popular subjects and popular titles. And some of my subject matter, some of the things that I was talking about was things that a lot of other content creators was talking about, and it was getting views. And I was like, oh, let me throw my hat in that arena. And some of my earlier videos, you know, I'm talking about my videos was going up. I was getting thousands of views. But then I sat back and I'm like, but that's not the kind of content that I want to, that I want to be focusing on. I don't want to be focusing on the negativity. I don't want to be focusing on, people getting murdered, people going back and forth to jail, because you got to be careful with the energy that you put out. That energy could come back to you. So then I start kind of playing with it, playing with different topics and different content. And I was noticing that when I talk about things that are more of a positive nature, um, you know, things that are more of inspirational, motivational, people don't want to hear that kind of content. People don't want to hear that kind of information. So I was going back and forth between that and back and forth to the content that get views. And then I just got to a point where I'm like, you know what? It ain't about views, because if I could have a conversation on here and I can motivate or inspire one person, then I did my job, you know? And if everybody could motivate and inspire one person, then imagine what kind of world, we're living. Um, some people think it's cool to be gangsters and tough, right? Um, some people think it's cool to be criminals, you know? Um, some people think it's corny going to school and getting a trade and getting an education, you know? Some people say if you don't have a lot of material items that, you're not important, that you're nobody. And those are just some of the things, right? Now, the reason why I mention that is because there's a saying that says, be careful what you eat, right? Um, God's goodness, nothing wrong with motivational. Exactly. And um and some, you know, because you when you get on social media, you kind of want to be famous, you want to be lit, and things of that nature. And it's not about that, it's really about motivation and encouragement. And based on what a person speaks about, it kind of tell you a lot about their mentality as an individual. So I didn't want people to get the wrong impression of me. I didn't want people to think that, oh well, because I speak of certain negative topics, or I speak about death, or I speak about certain parts or points in my life, some of the things that I've been through, that's who I am now. No, I didn't want you to get it confused. So this is the topic that I'm on, this is the content that I'm on, and this is where we're gonna go. And whoever gonna join the ride, whoever gonna jump on the train, they're gonna jump on the train. Whoever not, it's other things out there for you. So there's a saying, right? And this saying goes like this. The saying says, be careful what you eat. Be careful what you eat. Now, you could say that same saying in different words and say, be careful what you digest, meaning what you consume. Be careful what you ingest, what you put in your body. Either way that you say it, this is what it means. Be careful what you put inside you, right? So we're going to start from the head first. We're going to start from the top of the body first. Be careful of the thoughts that you put in your head or you allow other people to put in your head. Why is that important? Because certain thoughts can scramble your eggs. It could scramble your brain. Certain thoughts can have you thinking other things. Now, I don't know if y'all heard it before, but they said that music is one of those things that influences people to action. So if you look at, like some older movies, or you look at how some things in life play out, like generally people listen to a certain music to get them in a certain vibe, right? And a lot of times, the kind of music that they listen to that put them in a certain vibe, it could be positive or it could be negative. If you want to be in a good mood, what kind of music you gonna listen to? You want to listen to calm, soothing, and relaxing music. If you want to turn up, what kind of music you gonna listen to? You're gonna listen to gangster music. If you want to get in the spirit of praise and worship, and being in the spirit of God, you're gonna listen to praise music. So that's to the extent that we're gonna go on that. Another example of be careful what you eat is be careful of the thoughts that you allow to enter your mind, right? What are some of the thoughts that you should be careful to not allow to enter your mind? One of the strongest thoughts is the thought that you can't do something, right? Don't allow that to enter your mind. Don't allow people to think, don't allow people to tell you, don't allow you to tell yourself, don't allow that thought to be digested that you can't do something. Try to take that out of your vocabulary. Instead of saying I can't do something, be like, that's something that I'm gonna work on. That's something that I could put some more work on. See, that's putting positive energy, right? Um, be careful to tell yourself like it'll never happen, or it's not going to happen. um that's important because so your brain is like a field, right? Your brain is like a field. Think of a big land mass, a body of grass where vegetation is planted, be it vegetables or be it fruit, right? So what you plant in the ground is what's going to grow. So if you put negative thoughts into your mind, that's what's going to grow. Same way as you put positive thoughts into your head, that's what's going to grow. Why is that important? It seems simple enough, but a lot of people don't get it. If you constantly consuming negative thoughts, your outlook is going to be negative. The way you do things is going to be negative, right? Because this is a cup, right? And it has a beverage in there. What kind of beverage is in here? The beverage in here is what I put in here. So it's the same thing with the mind. The only thing gonna be in there is what you put in there. If you put knowledge, education, and information inside here, when it's time for you to use your mind to figure things out, that's exactly what you're gonna do. If you don't put nothing of substance in your brain, nothing is gonna come out, you know? Um, but moving right along. In terms of certain foods, be careful of the foods that you eat, right? Um, you may like fried foods, you may like burgers, you may like steak, you may like shrimp, you may like seafood. Um, but a lot of people don't take the time to look at a lot of people don't take the time to look at some of those foods and what they do to your body. They say one real, one sweet, one. Hi, from San Diego, California. San Diego, California in the building. Stand up. Shout out to Cali. And if y'all want to, when y'all come in the building, y'all can shout out where y'all from. And I'm talking, so if you want to join in, you want to chime in on the conversation, you could definitely do so. Or if you just want to hear my spill, that's real, then that's cool as well. So let's talk about certain foods that we eat. Now, I'm not sure if y'all know, but if we look at things like a hamburger, right, or any kind of burger, any kind of meat, a serving of beef, be it a burger, be it a steak, anything in that family. Do you know that it takes one serving of meat, of beef? It takes roughly about 16 hours to digest for it to fully run through your body and for your body to digest it. It takes 16 hours. Now, why is that important to mention? Because how many times most people eat during the day? They eat mainly about 3 times a day: breakfast, lunch, and dinner, right? So if you consume, let's say, some sort of meat for lunch, that takes 16 hours to digest, but then you eating again. Then you eating again before that 16 hours is up. So now your body is working overtime to try to digest that food. It's working double time because it was working to digest the first meat that you ate, and now it's working to digest the other meat that you ate. Get you gassed up and back. Exactly. Exactly. So if there is it's no mystery, it's no riddle why people get gas, why people get backed up, why people be constipated. People be thinking that there's really something wrong with them. But it's not. It's not that there's anything wrong with you. It's something about the food that you are consuming. And you're eating with such a frequency, meaning you're eating a lot. You're eating with so much frequency, you're not giving the food an opportunity to fully digest in your body. And what happens in time? What happens in time is either your body start functioning so fast that as you get older, get to a point to where your body, your digestive system is not functioning the same. You putting so much pressure on, certain other body parts that help with the digestion process, that when you get older, you start having stomach pains, start having stomach issues, you start having those complications. The meat that doesn't fully digest in your body, what happens is that over time, we're not talking about 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, it's over time. When you talking about 20, 30, 40, 50 years down the line, as you start to age, as you start to get older, all of that food that didn't digest in your body, what it does is it rots inside your body. It rots inside your body. And it starts to cause other ailments, you know? It could lead to cancer. It could lead to other things. I'm 48. Took me a long time to figure out how to eat better. Right, exactly. You 48 and I'm 47. So now look at the significance of that, right? You 48, you started to eat better. I'm 47. I'm just starting to eat better. Now, I'm in the process of starting to do a lot of things better. But the significance of your age and my age is, I kind of touched on it yesterday, but I didn't go too deep into it, right? In time and with age, you become wise. So a lot of people never get the opportunity to see what they could have become because they passed away too soon. Is usually when you get into your 40s, your mid 40s and your upper 40s. That's when all of the mistakes that you could have made in life, you made them. You got tired of bumping your head, and now you're looking for something different. You get older, you got a bloated stomach, you go to the doctor, they talking high blood pressure, they talking cholesterol, they talking about sugar, diabetes. They want to put you on medication. They want to put you on insulin. They say, well, listen, you got to change your diet habits. That's how it happened for a lot of people. Um, that's how it happened for a lot of people. And that's what happened with me. Last year, uh, I had 2 miniature strokes back to back. Last year. I had 2 miniature strokes back to back. At that time, I was still smoking cigarettes. I was consuming a decent amount of alcohol. And when I drunk Hennessy with Red Bull. So they say Red Bull gets your heart racing because it's an energy drink. So Red Bull, yeah, it's like your heart is going 100 miles an hour, and then Hennessy is kind of like a downer. So you mixing a down and the up, and you just kind of all over the place. Man, I went to the hospital and they told me that I had a miniature stroke. I'm like, I don't do no drugs. I drink occasionally, but I smoke cigarettes. I was smoking cigarettes for over 30 years. They said, man, you got to change your habit. They told me I was borderline diabetic. And that if I didn't get it under control, that I was gonna have to be taking high blood pressure medication. I stopped smoking cigarettes. I stopped drinking. I started exercising. Before that, I wasn't eating a lot of meat anyway. I started eating a lot of seafood and chicken and stuff like that. All right, let's see what you got to say. I want to live. I want to live a long life as much as I can. And that Thank you for that comment. Thank you for that comment. Sweet Like Honey said, I want to live a long life as much as I can. Now, let me tell you how real that is. Most people goal is to make as much money as they can, you know, to get as much materialism as they can. Most people don't think about living a long time. So if you don't think about living a long time, you're gonna do things that's gonna destroy your body. So that's definitely I respect that. I'm on the same time as you. That's what I was going through. It's crazy. Diabetes was bad for me, yes. And all it takes is a little bit of exercise, 30 minutes, 45 minutes a day, change up your eating habits, and don't do certain things to destroy, don't do things to destroy your temple. I'm gonna be honest, I just had weight loss surgery, best thing I did for myself. And that's what's up. Appreciate the fact that you sharing that. See, this is real conversation. This is real talk. These are the kind of interactions that we need to have, because some people, they don't have an opportunity, or they don't have a platform. They don't have the kind of friends where they could just be honest and just talk about really some of the things that's meaningful and significant. You then, when it got weight loss surgery, that's what's up, because that's one of the things that's going to keep you living so much longer. You got some people that they don't care about their weight, and they be walking, they be out of breath. They need somebody to help them, or they need to use a walker, they need to use a cane or a wheelchair. And it's like, why make yourself go through that when it's so much more simple? You could eat as much as you want, but eat things that are healthy for you. Learn and understand what it is that you eating. And share the information, and don't be scared to talk about the things that are important and significant to you. It doesn't matter if somebody want to hear it or not. You know, to thine own self be true. See, this is what it say in the Bible. To thine own self be true. Now, what does that mean? See, now this comes out of the Bible. And I have a Bible here, as well as I have a Holy Quran here. But yesterday I spoke a little bit about, I'm gonna get back, but yesterday I spoke a little bit about, the Bible, and how important and how significant the Bible is, right? And one of those quotes just came to mind: to thine own self be true. What does it mean to thine own self be true? Meaning, be real with yourself. Keep it real with yourself. You can't keep it real with nobody if you can't keep it real with yourself. You can't be comfortable with nobody if you can't be comfortable with yourself. So there and again, that's where the Bible, and we talking about the Bible is thousands of years ago. So when you read the Bible and you start to understand it, and you look at those quotes, you'll see that you could apply a lot of those quotes and a lot of that knowledge and information to life right now. Sweet Like Honey said, my hubby is like looking good to me. Don't get me wrong. I love my plus size body, but I love life more. Exactly. That's what's up. Look, let me tell you something about a plus size body. And, especially with men, look, we're going to be honest. We're going to keep it 100. Men like a plus size body. Why? Because men like something, we could snuggle on, we could cuddle on, we could lay on like a pillow. In the wintertime is nothing wrong with, being all hugged up. But Everybody's going to get older. And that same beautiful and amazing body that you had when you was younger, it's going to start to droop down when you older if you don't take care of it. So then you have like those females that they have titties that be sitting on their knees. I mean, it's not a good look. You get the stretch marks, your whole body be sagging. So it's good to, take those steps to take care of yourself now. True. I'm gonna leave. Keep up the good work. I feel like you have potential. Eli Stanley, thank you. I appreciate you. I'm just seeking to be an inspiration, seeking to be a positive force in this life. I know it's a lot of negativity, and I experienced a lot in my younger years. I was young and dumb. I did a lot of things that I regret in life. I'm still learning, but I figure, before it's all said and done, before my number is called, let me turn over a new leaf and try to be a part of the solution instead of the problem. Let me try to give something of substance, something that people can use to better themselves instead of to destroy themselves. God first, always. Exactly. God makes a path for all of us. Exactly. Uriah's in the building. What's going on? Boobies on the knees. Boobies on the knees. And look, now, and it's funny, right? Boobies on the knees. It's funny. This is something that really happens. But do you know some people, especially people that follow, certain religions, or they have a certain level of spirituality, they start to look at life like it's a sin, or, you speaking vile and you speaking vulgar if you're talking about real life. Like, listen, we could be serving God, we could be spiritual, we could be trying to better our lives, but that doesn't mean that we shouldn't be able to talk about real life stuff. You know, when you get older, your body's gonna start sagging, you're gonna have titties on your knees. That's not being blasphemous, that's not being disrespectful. And if religions say that you can't speak about things in a way that makes sense or that's realistic, then you don't need religion. That's the main reason why a lot of people, don't indulge religion, because it's so strict and it's so stringent. We're not saying, deal with religion or deal with spirituality in a watered down way, but we are still also human beings. So we should be able to have real conversations. Me too, made many mistakes in life, but we learn and we make better choices, so we stay shining. Exactly. And that's what it's about. Like, before, I used to think that money, materialism, cars, reputation, I used to think all of that stuff meant something. But as you get older, me, I was smoking cigarettes for over 31 years. And when I had that little health scare, when I went to the doctor, I had a miniature stroke on Thursday, and then I had another miniature stroke on Saturday. Let me explain to you what that feel like. Like, some people, they never experienced it, so I'm gonna explain to you what it feel like. Listen, that was one of the scariest things that I ever experienced in my life. It was to the point that I was like, God, what's going on? What's happening? Because that's what we do when something happened that we don't understand. The first person we call is God. So look, this is how it happened. Let me drink some water. And this is water. I'm not drinking soda. It's just in a Pepsi cup because I went to grab something to eat. So I'm sitting down and I'm talking to somebody. We full blown in a conversation. And then I start feeling like my mouth was going to the side. And as I was talking, it sounded like I was talking out of the side of my mouth, like my mouth was crooked. But I don't remember turning my mouth crooked. And as I'm talking, I know, like my regular tone of voice. And as I'm talking, it sounds like I'm talking in slow motion, like, and I said out loud, because I felt it. I said out loud to the person that I was talking to. I was like, do do I sound funny, and do I sound like my mouth is twisted? And they was like, yeah, why you talking like that? Why your mouth looking all twisted? And I was like, I don't know, but I feel funny. So I went to get up. and I put my hands down on the sofa to get up. I had no power and none of my body. Like I had no feeling. Um, like I couldn't move. It kind of felt like I was paralyzed. And but I was still trying to get up. Like I could feel like me trying to make the motion to get up, but I couldn't get up. And my friend was like, "You want me to call a ambulance for you?" And I was like, "Yeah, call him." And then I'm just sitting there, and I remember saying to myself, like my mouth is twisted, right? And I'm kind of saying to myself, I'm like, "Yo, why am I feeling like this?" Now, mind you, this happened in the middle of me having a conversation with somebody. Ambulance came, they took me to the hospital, plug all of these tubes in me, and did all of these tests, did a brain test, heart, all of these different things. And my temperature was 180 something. They was looking at me like, "Yo, I'm surprised your heart didn't bust. A temperature like this, most people, they go into shock and cause some complication." But just, in time, like, I guess my pressure kind of went down and everything normalized. So they kept me for a few hours observation, and then they did more tests again, and they said everything was normal, so they released me. And I'm like, "Man, you released me?" Like, and they told me it was a TIA, a miniature stroke. And I'm like, "Were you just gonna release me from the hospital? No medication, no tell me to follow up or nothing." So I left. This was Thursday night. 2 days later, Saturday morning, I'm laying in the bed early in the morning. I got to use the bathroom. I go to get up. I start feeling the same thing, like mouth twisted, body like feel like I'm paralyzed. I couldn't get up, and I had to get rushed back to the hospital. And I stayed in the hospital for about 2 or 3 days, and then it took me like I'm talking about 6 or 7 months doing all different kind of tests. I had to go get blood tests to see if it was something, that they could trace in my blood. I had to get CAT scans, EKG. I had to get, nerve tests. Had to go to hemoglobin specialist. When I tell you, for about 6 months, I went to doctor getting every single part of my body checked, and they said that they couldn't see nothing. You know, they said that they couldn't see nothing. So it just kind of passed by itself. So when I went to my primary care physician, my doctor, he was like, "Man, listen, I know you said you've been smoking all of these years and you healthy for the most part." He said, "But you got to understand what smoking does." He said, "Smoking, leads to these things." And, he really, really went in depth in terms of all of the issues that smoking caused, and, the drinking the Red Bull with the Hennessy, and I just started making some lifestyle changes. But yeah, man, that scared me. That scared me to death. That scared me straight. I ain't even gonna lie to you. That scared me straight. You see, money. One day I looked at all four of my kids and said, "Damn, I need change to live long." And I'm reading it out loud because I want other people, to hear it. But Sweet Like Honey said, one day looked at all four of my kids and said, "Damn, I need to change to live long, not only for myself, for my kids." So I prayed and went to see my doc, and he mentioned weight loss surgery. That was a sign from God. Exactly. Exactly. And thank you for sharing that. Because some people need to hear that. Look, one of the things that a lot of people don't think about as they live in their life and as they going through some of the things that they going through, one thing that a lot of people don't think about in life is how other people are going to be affected if something happens to you. Like in the case of, Sweet Like Honey, where she decided to go get the weight loss surgery because she was thinking about how how her kids was going to be affected by if something happened. Now that's a very unselfish decision. That's a grown folk decision. Like when you start thinking about how other people are going to be affected if something's going to happen to you. Like our kids didn't ask to be brought into this world. So because we have unhealthy habits, we have habits like smoking, we have habits like drinking, we have habits like, over super indulging in food, and we put on all of this weight, and we think it's okay. Um, and not looking at the health ramifications of that. Um, we're not taking serious the fact that if something happens to us, who is going to take care of our kids? Who is going to be here for our loved ones? Who is going to make folks smile and laugh like we did? Each and every one of us is irreplaceable. Each and every one of us is irreplaceable. My twins is 17, my oldest is 18, my baby is 11. Blessings to you, blessings. And hopefully the kids that you have, they choose a productive and they choose a wise path. I would hate to be a teenager nowadays, because what's going on in the teenage community and the influences there is way more influences than when we was younger. So I pray that they all stay on the path to success and prosperity. Can't even say positivity in that regards, because sometimes going down the wrong avenues is what lead us to the straight path. If you understand what I'm saying. Sometimes we got to go down them dark alleys. Sometimes we have to go through those experiences before we get to a point where we realize the road that we need to be on. So blessings for them. Um, and hopefully, they continue to excel and prosper in life. Yes, stay in college for medical. Right. And that's important. Going to college for medical, they could be able to treat everybody else's condition, but now you got a family doctor. That's what we need, because going to the hospital is so expensive, so you definitely need a medical professional in the family. um so yeah, and we started exploring these topics and this conversation, based on the quote, to be careful what you eat, right? um it's You could take it literal, right? You could take it objectively. um you could take it in a metaphorical sense. You could take it different ways. But either way that you take it, what it means in a nutshell is just be careful how you treat your body. Be careful what you put into your body. Be careful of the thoughts that you think, of the feelings that you feel. Be careful of the people that you allow in your circle. Because some of them have negative vibes, some of them have negative energy. um, Ran the streets hard when I was young, and I didn't give my kids that life. Blessings to you. Blessings to you. Same here. I ran the streets, and I'm trying to do everything in my power to show them something different. And look, let me tell you something. I'm gonna tell you something else that's equally important, and then we're gonna get back to the conversation at hand. Something else that's equally important is taking out time for you, right? Taking out time for you. What does that mean, taking out time for you? It means learning yourself and figuring yourself out, you know, finding yourself. Um, it's very important. It's very, very, very important. I learned a lot about myself just removing myself from the mix, from it all, from everything. Like at this point in time, I would say it's been, what's this, 2024? Right now, I would say it's been almost 4 years that I kind of just ceased communication with a lot of people. And it's not that um, I had problems with people, or I had problems with a lot of people, um, or people did me anything, or I did anything to anybody. I just got to a certain stage where I was just like, man, I just need to go into myself. I need to figure me out. I need to spend some time with me, because I was always trying to be there for everybody else, trying to help everybody else figure things out, just kind of getting caught up in life. And I realized that my life was going in a circle, meaning I was doing the same thing over and over and over, day in, day out, day in, day out. And I was like, this is not working. So I just kind of disappeared from the world. And um, it's been peaceful. Um, I haven't had to deal with a lot of stress. Every once in a while, and some days you have to deal with, some situations that you would rather not. And when I got the chance to like really get into myself, it went through a couple of different stages, right? One state at one point in time, I started to realize some things about myself. Like I started to see my character. I started to see some of the ways in which I talked, some of the ways in which I did things. And I was like, man, you're not a good individual, you know? And I had to eat that. I'm not scared to admit that. I had to admit to myself that I wasn't a good individual. Um, why I wasn't a good individual? Man, because I grew up in a project, roaches and rats, grew up parents on drugs, running the streets at an early age, the fighting, the violence, the all of those things, going to prison, doing a lot of time in prison. And so I had a certain attitude and disposition about myself where I was just always on go. I was TTG, trained to go. If somebody said something that I didn't like, I was quick to react. I would be argumentative. I would want things to be saw my way. I had a lot of selfishness with me. Um, I had a lot of immaturity about myself, So I was just like, wow. Um, so now I see why I clash with certain people, you know? Now I see why some relationships that I have with people are not the best that they could possibly be. And so that first stage that I experienced when I was getting to know myself, it taught me a valuable lesson. And the lesson that it taught me was don't be so quick to look at other people as the problem or the issue. Look at yourself first and see what you did wrong. If you didn't do anything wrong, see what you could have done to prevent things from going in the direction that it went. And that's called taking self-inventory, you know. Um, that's called accepting responsibility, you know, accepting responsibility for yourself and your actions. Um, and not placing the blame on others, because as people we don't want to put the blame on ourselves when things go wrong. We only want to take the credit and take the pat on the back when things go right. So we kind of live a double standard, and there's nothing real about that. I'm gonna go back to the comments, um so I could interact with y'all. I don't allow no one in my circle. Yo, it's a very peaceful thing. A lot of folk is faking drama. They are. And a lot of people is fake and full of drama because some of them were taught that fake is real, you know? Or some people are trying so hard to be something or somebody else that's not really them. So it kind of, make their personality look wishy-washy, and it looks like they're fake, but they just trying too hard to be something or somebody that they not, you know? Me, I choose to stay in my lane. I mean, look, that's the best thing to do. And what's the best example of that? Stay in your lane. If you got a car and you on the highway driving, cars don't go in every direction at the same time. You stay behind the car that's in front of you and you go. You got to stay in your lane. A lot of people don't do that. So, that's why they wind up crashing or crashing out. You sound like me. I sound like you. I appreciate it. That means you must be a wise individual. And when you disappear, people quick to say this and that. Word, people like when you disappear, people be like, "Oh, you on BS? You think you better than other people?" Uh, they have all kind of things to say because people don't know how to disappear and go deal with themselves. This is why we have so much mental health issues going on, and we have so many people that's affected by mental health nowadays because they don't got nobody to talk to. Then you got things like one of the major things that affect our society is suicide. People don't talk about it enough, right? And I'm not going to get too deep into it, but this is a real thing. A lot of people, a lot of people, you know, um commit suicide or have suicidal thoughts or go through depression and stuff like that. And a lot of them suffer in silence because you can't have real conversations with people. You know, if like we're having good conversation, we having good communication right now, we vibing, you know, everybody don't know how to have a good time. Some people think being full of drama is a good time. Some people think going to the club is a good time. Some people think, you know, like just a lot of things that don't matter. They think that's a good time and it's not. Peace has a price. Exactly. Peace do have a price. It's a price that you gotta pay. You know, the price that you pay for peace is being lonely. Is being lonely. A lot of people don't know how to sit down and just deal with themselves and nobody else. They don't know how to function if a million people is not around. So it makes you a strong individual if you can actually dip away from the world and focus on yourself and work on some things that you need to work on and come back out a better person. It gives you a better, it gives you a better perspective. Um, Mouth shut is part of that price. You're 100% correct. Mouth shut is a part of that price. A lot of people they don't know how to zip it. They don't know how to zip it. And um there's a saying and I just had it right there, right? It's a saying that have something to do with the mouth. Um Let me see if I could catch it again because it was just right there. Um um Yeah, it may or may not come back to me. But listen to this. The mouth is one of the most dangerous weapons. The mouth is very dangerous. You can cut somebody up and chop them up just with your words. You can say stuff to people that will affect them for the rest of their life, you know? Um, and then while we right there, let me tell you something else. Okay, look at my face, right? And then look at your face. Because all of us have a face. If you don't have a face, then that means you faceless, right? But I'm gonna use my face as an example, right? Okay, these are my eyes. And please, I'm not trying to be funny. I'm not trying to treat nobody like they slow, but I'm gonna speak a little bit slower so that the point, could come across the way that it need to. These are my eyes. I have two eyes. These are my ears. I have two ears, right? This is my nose. I have one nose. This is my mouth. I have one mouth, right? What's more, two or one? What's greater, two or one? Two is always greater than one, right? So if you have two eyes and one mouth, that means look, watch, and observe more than you talk. If you have two ears and one mouth, that means listen more than you talk. This could get you, your mouth could get you in trouble. Listening can get you in trouble unless you listen and use your mouth to talk about what you heard, you know? Use your ears, and I'm pointing to my eye. Use your ears and use your eyes, because you got two eyes and you got two ears, you know? So pay attention and watch more. Pay attention and watch more than you talk. Pay attention and watch more than you talk. Yes, you have two nostrils, but it's one nose. Unless your two nostrils equate to two noses. I never heard of two noses. Um, but yeah, health is wealth, right? And again, it goes. We when we go back to the Bible, um a lot of religious books, right? One of the things that they speak about is diet. One of the things that they speak about is diet. You know, diet is important because your body is a temple. If you don't treat your body right, your body ain't gonna treat you right. If you dog your body is gonna fail you. She said, that's what my hubby always tells me. Yeah. And especially for females, your hubby is a wise person, right? Especially for females. We like to, men, we like to express to females, um, sometimes that use less of this and use more of this. Because females, sometimes a lot of y'all like to turn up and y'all like to, kind of get belligerent and get crazy. And especially when you got a man that is going to stand by you and that's going to protect you. Females, they start, talking kind of, and then when somebody talk back to them in that tone, they say, all right, I got something for you. And they go and get, their husband, they go and get their significant other or whatever. And then now you putting them in a situation, now you putting y'all in jeopardy. And it's like, it's not worth it, you know? It's not worth it. So, learn how to use this. And me sometimes, because I'm, excuse me, because I'm still growing as an individual. I'm not on here professing to be perfect. I'm not on here saying or feeling or thinking that I got it all figured out and I got it all together. I am a work in progress, as we all are. We all are a work in progress, and each one teach one. Um, if everybody shares a little bit, then you turn around, we got all of the pieces. Because if when you look at a puzzle, like especially some of those puzzles that got 1,000 pieces, right? If a whole lot of people come together and they all have a different piece, they put those pieces together and they can make one whole. But the kind of world that we live in, people are so uh into being in competition with each other instead of working together. You know, it's like people forgot how to work. People forgot how to put in work and put their effort in. And that's why people rather take from other people nowadays. That's why scamming is at an all-time high. I was just tripping because I was looking at something on the news that said even when you go to the grocery, right? Even when you go to the grocery store right now, like to be careful of those machines that you put your credit card or your debit card in, because scammers, they put in those devices over the machines where once you punch in your PIN numbers, it take all your information. And I'm like, wow, in the grocery stores now, that's crazy. You know, I got a real good hubby. I'm blessed. He loved me when I didn't even love myself, and that's real. And yo, for a female to admit that, um, that's the realest ever, and that's what you call growth. I'm gonna tell y'all what Miss Sweet Like Honey said. She said, I got a real good hubby. I'm blessed. He loved me when I didn't even love myself, and that's real. Like some females, especially they go through body transformations, or they level up in life and they have their life together, they have their life in order. They start to think that it's all about them, and was nobody there walking with them on their journey. So to give to acknowledge a man that you're dealing with, your significant other, to acknowledge them as the one that kind of, you know, um make you feel like you blessed. That's a beautiful thing. And I wish y'all a very long lasting relationship. Much peace, blessings, and and growth and development for y'all. Uriah said, a peaceful wife. I know your intimacy has increased. Yeah. Yo, look, let me tell you something about life, right? You could get money and you could lose it. You could get materialism, you could lose it. You could get cars and you could lose it. But the one thing that's hard to get is a companion that brings you peace and not chaos. you know so if you're blessed and fortunate to find somebody or to have somebody in your life that bring you peace, you rich, because you can't even put a price on a good companion. And almost everything else in the world you could get, but a good companion is something that's very hard to come by. True, we are unity here in my home. Exactly. And that's how you got to be, because a unit a unit is what a family should be. That's what it's called. It's called a family unit. Everybody pitch in, and that's what makes that's what make the household, and that's what makes the relationship flow smooth. And look, while I'm on that topic, let me tell you this, right? And this is for sweet like honey, not only for sweet like honey, but this is for everybody. So look, how you function in your relationship, um, you know, is pretty much how you're going to function with people outside your household. So if you have a strong and loving and warm relationship, then pretty much when you outside, you're going to have those kind of relationships with people. And if and raising a family and being a unit, if we teach everybody to be on the same page, then that teaches um especially our kids how to exercise teamwork, how to work as a team. So many people for self, they're not even working as a team no more. It's crazy. It's so real out there. Raya, stay blessed, sweet like honey. See, look, sweet like honey, like you getting love in the building. They telling you stay blessed, and that's the thing. And that's the thing. It's like we want to encourage each other. We don't have to say things negative to each other, right? Um, but sometimes people find it so hard to say good things to each other. Do you People don't realize, like, if you say something good to people, they could wind up having a good day just because of the words that you said. And then now people in the comments or whoever is listening, or watching this conversation, and especially watching that message that he's telling the young lady to stay blessed. Um imagine if that's how we all spoke to each other. Just imagine what kind of life this would be. you know if you got in a disagreement with somebody and you say, you know what, stay blessed. you know I wish you blessing, and I wish you peace. Imagine if people spoke to each other like that. Maybe people would start acting a little bit more peaceful, you know? And maybe the reason why so many people are so ignorant and act so ignorant is because maybe, not too many people is giving them kind words. So it's always a source. It's always a source to it's always a source to why people are and why things are the way that they are. And I'm going to give y'all a little disclaimer before we go on. I'm gonna give you a disclaimer. I said it a couple of minutes ago and I said it again. Listen, I am not perfect. I am a work in progress. You know? Um, and this page and the discussions that we have and that we're gonna be having in the future, it's not about being perfect. It's about striving to be better, you know, coming to the understanding that we are worth more than what it is that we display. And you could be a kind of individual right now. You could be a kind of individual that you may have a bad attitude. People don't like you. You may be arrogant. You may be moody. You may be jealous. You may not be the nicest of individuals right now. You may not be the kind of individual that people even want to know or have, a relationship or good communication with. But you don't have to stay that way, you know? You don't have to stay that way. So we just want to make it our mission to become better people every day. And part of that, I think, um, is the Bible. You know, I've noticed that when I read the Bible, especially when I'm going through something, and as you read the Bible more, like you'll know what sections to read. Like they have sections that just speak wisdom, you know, like Songs of Solomon, Psalms, and this is why a lot of Jamaicans, as well as Rastafarians, right? They say they're gonna chant some Psalms, Um, the Rastafarian religion, and I'm not gonna sit here and profess that I know everything about it. I just know a little bit about a lot of different things. Whoa, that light is bright. I just turned my computer on, and I'm still going. I'm still going live on my phone because I don't know. It's just a comfortable thing. I'm trying to turn this computer. Well, it should turn off by itself, but that light just got bright real quick. Um, so a lot of Rastafarians and those that's in the Rasta church, they read the book of Psalms in the Bible because there's a lot of wisdom in that book in the Bible. So there's sections of the Bible that it speaks about wisdom. There's sections of the Bible that it just, it deals with a whole lot of, real life and different life situations, things in life that you're gonna encounter, and it show you how those people dealt with it, and it shows you how to deal with it as well. Yesterday I gave the story about Jezebel. Um, where I was saying why it's important to not speak to her or try to deal with nobody else's wife because Jezebel got somebody killed, and that happens in everyday life as well. But and I also spoke about thou shalt not steal. We were just going through some of the commandments. Said thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife. We ran through some of those things and just really talking about how um, some of these quotes and some of these passages and some of this information in the Bible is still apply to a lot of what we got going on in life right now. So as time go on, I'm gonna introduce. I'll have some sessions where I'll deal with some biblical passages and I'll deal with some biblical quotes, and we can have a discussion on it. And again, this is not a religious channel. We're not religious. We're not saying that, if you believe in God, you're the greatest person in the world. If you don't believe in God, you're the most devilish person in the world. Because you got people that don't believe in, you got people that don't follow religion. You got people that don't read the Bible, that don't belong to no churches. And they good people. But the Bible is just not their thing. And then you got people that, are part of religious bodies, and they some of the most devilish people that this world, done ever seen. So, or they never ever came across it and never ever experienced. So this channel is more so, about um, growth and development on a whole lot of levels. Yeah, we'll be talking about God. We'll be talking about spirituality. We'll be talking about relationships. Um, we'll be talking about self improvement. How to better ourselves, how to be nurturers, how to have good relationships, which first start with having a good relationship with ourselves. um, the importance of parents being in their children's lives. um, how important is it that a father is in their children's life? How important is it that a mother is in the children's life? And so, what do y'all think about? I don't know if y'all came across the information, but I did, right? So, what do y'all think about Simone Biles? Simone Biles and her mother. And if I don't know about Simone Biles is an Olympic. Simone Biles is, oh, appreciate you, Uriah. My apologies. I just see it. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Thank you for the Cash App, Uriah. I appreciate you. And if anybody want to support the channel, you can support the channel. If you don't, then you know it's all good. But Uriah, thank you. I appreciate that. So the story of Simone Biles, it goes a little something like this, right? So Simone Biles, she's one of the greatest, so they say one of the greatest gymnasts, that ever touched the stage. Right now she's at like 10 or 11 medals. And she's 27 years old. Her story is her grandparents took her and her siblings in because her mother had gave them up, because she was like real strung out on drugs. So right now, at this point in time, right? Right now, at this point in time, her mother surfaced. Her mother was in a newspaper and she was talking about how, she almost lost her house, how she's broke, how she's really going through um, some financial issues and some financial burdens. And, she said that she wants to, rekindle her relationship with her daughter, so that they could fix things. And it hasn't been any response from Simone Biles as of yet. But a lot of times that's what happens. You know, this is a sad story that her mother, when she was out there, doing drugs, she allowed the drugs to kind of take control of her life, and she decided to give up her kids. The grandparents, took in the kids, raised them, and now Simone Biles, she became one of the greatest gymnasts of all times. And that's something that her mother got to deal with. Her mother has to deal with the fact that she gave up her children and her daughter became one of the greatest gymnasts of all times. And her daughter may not want nothing to do with her, which is a very hurtful feeling. And we don't even really know her motivations for real. Like, we don't know if her motivation is to get in, try to get in good with her daughter, for financial gain. Is she trying to get in her daughter's life because she value and she cherish and she care about their relationship? We don't know that motivation. But that was important for me to note and important for me to mention is because a lot of times that's what happened. You know, uh, People, they don't care about their kids, and they're not in their children's life, and their children wind up becoming successful. And then now, once their children's successful, you want to come back in their life and you want to be a parent, and them kids don't want nothing to do with you. You know, so don't bring no children in this world if you're not willing to do what you need to do for them. There's so many parents out here that's selfish. Like, you got parents out here that they every weekend in a club. They trying to go out every day of the week. They out here, talk about they outside, they active and all that, and somebody else is looking after their children. you know. Then you have the females. This is the one that be killing me right here. And I'm not getting on the females, but I'm just speaking about, some of the things that just came to my head. So we have some females out here that the way that they be dressed, um, in these revealing clothes, and then they got their children with them, and they thinking that's cute. They thinking it's a flex. Same thing like some of these dudes out here, the ones that's thinking they super tough and thinking they super gangster. And it's like, but you got kids out here to raise, you know? Um, and that goes back to what we just said a little while ago in terms of being careful of what you digest, meaning what you put in your head, what you put in your heart and what you put in your system. You know, you have to be careful of what it is that you put in your system. Um, but yeah, so I just wanted to give you an idea of some of the things that we were going to be covering, and my hope is that we can all be on this platform, and we can enjoy some nice, some good, and some serious dialogue. We could learn something. You know, we could grow as people, as individuals. We could take some of the things from the conversations that we having and apply it to our lives, to become better individuals, um, become more knowledgeable individuals, become more well-rounded individuals. You don't have to be a one-trick pony. You don't have to be a person or individual that only knows one thing. And based on this conversation and these communications that we having, people get an opportunity to see that it's a whole lot more to me up here. And I would have been doing myself a disservice if I would have stayed doing, some of the other content that I was doing. And I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm not going to be, talking about, or, kind of discussing some of the latest, um, events. I may or may not, but it's more to me than some of the content that I was putting out there. So I appreciate those that's rocking with me. I appreciate those that joined the chat and joined the discussion. Um, because it just goes to show that you can't be scared to be exactly who you are. You know, you can't be scared to try. Um, you can't be scared to do what's in your heart to do, because you fear how people are going to look at you, or you fear that you're not going to be successful. Because at the end of the day, to thine own self be true. You know, you got to be real with yourself before you could be real with anybody else. And you know at different points and at different stages, different phases in my life, there's different people that knew me for different things. There's people that had great relationships with me. There's people that didn't have great relationships with me. There's people who have only nice things to say about me. There's people that may not have such nice things to say about me. um but it's part of the growth and the elevation of us as individuals, and realize it's not only about how you start out in life, it's how you finish in life, based on where you was brought up at, based on where you live, based on the things that you were taught when you older. That's how you're gonna act. You're gonna act accordingly, But when you come into information and you get older and you start to grow, then pretty much your conversation is gonna change, And that's just really what it is in a nutshell. Um, that's just what it is in a nutshell. What you said, sweet like honey? Let me see what you said. Let me see what you talking about, cause you be in here dropping jewels. You be in here dropping nuggets. You got the building lit. She said, I was a cold piece of work when a man got better, but I learned that I didn't need all that. Exactly. Right. Hello, dudes are LOL, dudes are fucking crackhead. And I'm gonna keep that comment up there, right? I'm not even gonna remove that, you know? I'm not even gonna remove that, because everybody got an opportunity to say in what they feel. It just if it gets too borderline disrespectful, then I'll remove you. I was on a bus and I met hubby. I met him on Plenty of Fish, the data site. Data site. He saved me as much as I saved him. Yep. It don't matter where you meet, It don't matter where you meet, is when you connect what you gonna do with it. My name is Lori. Pleasure to meet you, Lori. Pleasure to meet you. Um, World would be beautiful. Yup. I sub. Good man. Thanks. I appreciate the sub. And if anybody want to subscribe to the channel, subscribe to the channel so you can stay updated. Because I'm gonna continue to keep keep dropping. Um, And yesterday and today I went live at 10 o'clock. So I think I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna stay on that time. So, if y'all ever want to catch me on live, if you don't get the notification, then pretty much that's the time that we're gonna lock in. And until we lock in other times. When I read the Bible, I feel God is talking to me. Right, right. God do talk to you when you read the Bible, believe it or not. Because God is a spirit, and to understand God, you got to understand Him from a spiritual place. And when you read the Bible, your mind's open. So when your mind open, that's how you're able to accept, the Lord in. Hubby is a black man. I always share the Bible with him. He wasn't into God the way that I am till I met him. Yeah, a lot of people don't realize how important the Bible is until they start going through things and they start getting into, you know, they start getting into um they start getting into life changing experiences and then they go to God. But it's a flex when you go to God when everything is good for you and you just looking for God to make you a better person. I like it here. First channel I found that's good. Thank you. I appreciate that. And that's the vibe that I want to continue to maintain on this channel. Like I said, a place where people could come, kick their feet up, be it you join a discussion or you just want to, sit back and observe, but you could come here for peace because it's a lot of things that happen and go on throughout the day. We have a lot of negative experiences and I want this to be, the kind of experience where people could come and get some good information, and get a good vibe, you know. Um, and it may or may not be the best vibe that you got for the day, but that's what we're gonna work on. Tell us, oh yes, my friend, I gotta fix dinner. Peace and love. Good night, blessings to you all. Bye. All right, thank you. I appreciate you for checking in. And I didn't see the comments before, but I'm checking it now. Night night. Fact, bro. We got Brian Oglesby in the building. He said facts. Yeah, we talking real talk over here. We're sharing and we're having discussions over here. And especially for young men and especially for young males. And even if you're a middle-aged male, even if you in your middle years, I'm 47 years old. I don't look like it. I get compliments about it a lot. Some people they don't, let me see if I could turn up the lighting. Yeah. Some people they don't believe it, but I'm 47 years old. Fortunately for me, I never did a lot of drugs. I used to smoke a little, loud in my younger years. And when I got into drinking, I didn't drink all day, every day like a fish. There was a phase like, a couple of years that I was just real heavy into drinking. But I work out, I try to eat healthy for the most part. I'm working on improving. I'm working on improving different parts and different aspects of myself every day. And I'm just here sharing, with two guys, the ones that tune in, the ones that tune into the channel. I want to share some of those experiences with you in the hopes that you could be open and you could share some things about yourself, like some of those people who decided to share in the hopes that that information could help somebody else. So that's what we about here. That's exactly what we about. And it's necessary. It's time. Um Everything comes around in time. Everything comes around in seasons. Seasons repeat itself. But I think that at this point in time, it's just like, man, being ignorant is like, if you could accept just being ignorant and you could be cool with that, it's something wrong. Because it's so much more out here to life, than that. And the thing about information is a lot of people don't access it, or a lot of people don't know how to access it. um Being a positive individual is not popular, and nobody don't want to be ostracized and criticized because they're not as liked as everybody else. But the realest thing ever is to not care about what nobody else think and what nobody else feel. You got to do what makes sense for you. And while you live in your life, don't just think about what's happening and what's going on now. That's the most important thing, because you can make a decision right now that could affect you for the next 20, 30, 40 years of your life. You can make a decision right now that you may never be able to change or fix. So that's why it's important to be conscious, to be mindful of the decisions that you make. Stop trying to get cool points. Stop trying to get cool points. You don't have to be down with nobody else. You don't have to ride nobody else's wave. You don't have to be on the same time that everybody else is on. Be on your own time, right? And the easiest way to do that, to be on your own time, this is what you do. Let me learn you something. Let me learn you how to get on and be on your own time. Take a day away from everything and everybody. Be it if you're going to go to the beach, be it if you're going to go to the park, be it if you're going to go in a drive in your car, be it if you're going to go to the movies, wherever you're going to go. Disappear for one day. Don't have no interaction with nobody if you can help it. Everybody don't have that privilege, and for those that don't have that privilege, where they could get away from everybody, I'll explain something that you could do, right? But in this day that you take away from the world, and you remove yourself from all distractions, sit down with yourself and ask yourself a couple of questions. One of the questions that you want to ask yourself is, what do you want out of life? What do you want out of life? What do you want out of life? Is similar to what do you want to accomplish in life? Is similar to what do you want to be in life? What do you want to become in life? So all of those things is hand in hand. Ask yourself that. Don't ask yourself what you want to be for other people. Don't ask yourself that. Don't ask yourself what you want to be for other people. Don't say to yourself, I want to accumulate this amount of money so that I could be able to do this for this person or that person or for them and they. No, ask yourself, what do you want to do for you? What do you want to be for you? Start there. Focus on that, right? Now, for those people who don't have the privilege of getting away from everybody, there's a thing called the bathroom. You can go in the bathroom and close the door and kind of close yourself out from everything and everybody and just sit there with yourself and ask yourself the same question. What do you want out of life? What do you want to become in life? You know, what do you want to be known for in life after it's all said and done? You know, Uriah, I want to hear, well done, my good and faithful servant. And that's the ultimate accomplishment. And I was thinking about that earlier today, Uriah. So it's crazy that you said that. Um, what I was thinking about earlier today is, I was like, man, um, just imagine the thought of, like, okay, you live your whole life here, right? And then, of course, heaven is real. There is an afterlife. Um, there is a spiritual realm. That's a fact. And one day I'm gonna go into we're gonna take a deep dive discussion into that spirituality and um why I know for a fact that the spiritual realm is real. And I'll share with you all why the spiritual realm is real. But I was just saying to myself, like, man, okay, we live a whole uh life here on earth, and then For those that believe, and for those that, dedicated their life to, um, to the Lord, and things of that nature, and then you live for the rest of eternity, meaning you live forever, but in the spiritual realm, because in the spiritual realm, there's no such thing as time, you know? So if you're somebody like Uriah who said, I want to hear, well done, my good and faithful servant, that means you're making a conscious choice. Out of all of these things out here that you could be distracted by, all of these things out here that you could be and become, Uriah is saying, I want to hear the Lord say, well done, my good and faithful servant. So that means Uriah's mission is to do things that are pleasing to God, which at the end of the day and ultimately means I want to be the best possible me that I can be. And I want to be a blessing to others and not a curse. You know, if we're going to break it down in layman terms, if you can't understand it from the standpoint of somebody that's a firm believer in God like I am and like Uriah is, okay, so let's try to deal with it in a way in which you could understand it. All it means in a nutshell is you want to be a blessing to others and not a curse. That you want to live your life as an upright individual, you know, somebody that's not about bringing harm to others, somebody that's not about causing confusion and chaos with others, just being, just being somebody that's an upstanding individual, you know. And we all should strive to want to be that. It doesn't necessarily means like, we say this is who we're gonna be today and then tomorrow we become that. No, it's all about, it's all about being a work in progress. Um, but to make that conscious decision that that's how you want to live your life, look, nothing but love for you and much respect to you. And don't ever allow anything or anybody to dim your light, you know. Don't ever let anything or anybody dim your light, because this walk, like when you walking with the Lord, um and you're seeking to be a upright and upstanding individual, thus meaning pretty much being the best possible you that you can be, being a positive individual, being a light instead of darkness to people, you get attacked by the devil. Oh yeah. The righteous are the ones that are persecuted the most. The righteous. And if you don't believe me, um, there's a book in the Bible, Matthews, right? Let me grab it real quick. Let me grab it real quick. See, I didn't plan on going into the Bible, this evening, but I'm gonna go into it real quick, just for the sake of this right here. Now, I'm not trying to convert nobody to no religion. We having conversation, we having communication, and I just want to share something with you, right? It's the book of Matthews. Um, it's the book of Matthews. The book of Matthews. Let me just find that real quick. Just bear with me while I find this, and it's called I believe it's called the Beatitudes. Seven. I believe it's called the Beatitudes. I believe that's what it's called. Don't quote me. Don't quote me. I believe it's called the Beatitudes. Um, Okay. So let's see. Chapter 5. And for those of y'all that's not familiar, oh yeah, here it go. It's called the Beatitudes, right? And I'm reading from the book of Matthew, chapter 5, and I'm starting at verse 1, right? We're not gonna get religious. That's not what this is about, and I'm not gonna preach a sermon. Um, but I just wanna piggyback off of something that Uriah said, and then the comment that I made, that those who try to walk with God, those are the ones that are persecuted the most. The ones that try to live a good life and be upright individuals, those are the ones that's persecuted the most. Because the devil, they come to attack you. Evil always want to destroy you know. So when you trying to live positive, trust and believe, you're gonna have a lot of things that's gonna come in your way, but you just gotta stand strong, and that's why we God soldiers. So the Beatitudes go like this, right? Um, so the Beatitudes, it says, God blesses those who are poor and realize their need for him. God blesses those who mourn, for they will be comforted. God bless those who are humble, for they will inherit the earth. Stop right there. Listen to this now. God blesses those who are humble, for they will inherit the whole earth. God ain't say nothing about killers gonna inherit the earth. He ain't say nothing about gangsters gonna inherit the earth. He ain't say nothing about evil people is gonna inherit the earth. At the end of the day, God blesses those who are humble, for they will inherit the earth. And another way to say humble is, one who has humility. Um, then it goes on to say, God blesses those who hunger and thirst for justice, for they shall be satisfied. God blesses those who hunger and thirst for justice, for they shall be satisfied. So if you're a person that you seek justice and you go after justice, that's what you're going to get. God blesses those who are merciful, for they will be shown mercy. God blesses those who are merciful, for they will be shown mercy. What is that? What does that mean? What does it mean to be merciful and you will be shown mercy? Being merciful means if you show mercy to others. When you're in a situation where you need mercy, then pretty much you're going to receive it. God blesses those whose hearts are pure, for they will see God. You see what I'm saying, Uriah? God blesses those whose hearts are pure, for they will see God. It ain't say God blesses those who tough is gonna see God. God blesses. It doesn't say those who have the most money gonna see God. No. Um, those whose hearts are pure is gonna see God. God bless those who work for peace, for they will be called the children of God. God blesses those who work for peace, for they will be called the children of God. Now, this is the one that I was talking about. God blesses those who are persecuted for doing right, for the kingdom of heaven is yours. God blesses those who are persecuted for doing right, for the kingdom of heaven is yours. God blesses you when people mock you and persecute you and lie about you and say all sorts of evil things against you because you are my followers. Be happy about it. Be very glad, for a great reward awaits you in heaven. And remember, the ancient prophets were persecuted in the same way. The ancient prophets, The ones who try to lead the people to the right path and lead them to the right direction, they was persecuted. Now again, the Bible is thousands of years old. And it says in the Bible that people who were speaking the truth way back when were persecuted. So if you're somebody that seek to speak the truth now, you're going to be persecuted. You have to be a special kind of individual. You have to be a strong kind of individual to want to do the right thing. It don't take nothing to do wrong. It don't take nothing to, be an evil person. It take a different kind of person to, be real, to be honest, to be upstanding, right? And then when we think about just the story of Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ came to save and to heal the world, was trying to teach people how to live right, was healing people, was feeding people, and he was persecuted. You know what that means? And it goes back to something that I was saying a little while ago in terms of how, people that come on social media, people who have platforms that have positive messages, a lot of people don't want to hear that message. A lot of people don't want to listen to that message. Why they don't want to listen to that message? Because it's the same thing back in Jesus' time. And, the prophets of that era is a lot of people don't want to hear positivity. It just does something to negative people, to devilish people when you start talking positive. They hate that. It's kind of like how a vampire not a vampire, what's that movie? It's kind of how an evil person react like when you put the cross in front of them, like those exorcist movies, how they start going all crazy. People don't want to hear positivity. People don't want to hear righteous people and trying to speak about things that are necessary for everybody to hear. I don't go to the club. Why I want to hear about the club? I don't hang out in the streets. Why do I want to know what's going on in the streets? And it's a lot of people, like that. Everybody are not into the same things, but it's one thing that everybody needs. Everybody needs wisdom and everybody needs understanding. Everybody needs somebody to give them information that they don't know. Everybody needs to understand who God is, because a lot of people don't know. A lot of people wasn't taught. A lot of people wasn't taught. Why do people need to know about God? It's simple. Most children that are born, they want to know who their parents are. So why would you not want to know about who created you? I'll sip to that, this water that is. Why would you not want to know about who created you? Because the only way you're going to know why you were created and what your purpose here on earth is you got to have a conversation with your creator. Can't nobody else here on earth tell you what you're here for. You may want them to, but can't nobody on earth tell you what you're here for. Can't nobody here on earth tell you what your purpose is. We're not here for nothing. We're not here just living to die. No. We're not here just to accumulate all of the wealth and all of the property and all of the materialism in the world. Because 100 years ago, a lot of this stuff didn't even exist. So why are people willing to kill for it, willing to die for it, or willing to put this above and in front of everything and everybody else? Doing Nobody asked that question. How is it that something that's not even 200 years old, how is that more important than people who pretty much been in existence for millions of years? Because excuse me, when you trace back um the oldest remnants or remains of humans, they say that was like millions of years ago. Millions of years ago. The first human beings were in terms of, yeah, was a little over millions of years ago. And it bugs me out that they know. How can you look at something, or how can you study something and say that this is a million years old? Even like, in museums and stuff, they got dinosaurs, because at one point in time there was dinosaurs and, all of those different kind of animals and creatures here. How were they able to trace those things back, and they didn't know they wasn't living? It's just things that make you go, That's what it just lets you know that life is a whole lot deeper than what we think. Life is a whole lot deeper. And there's one particular point in time that I like, right? And it's somebody that, made me start to like this era. So one of the eras that I really, really like is the Viking era. And the easiest way to explain the Viking era is think about movies like Conan the Barbarian, if you never saw it. I like that era because we got to remember, during the Viking era, there wasn't no such thing as clothing stores where you could go and buy clothes from, where you could go and buy coats from, where you could go and buy boots from, where you could go and buy gloves from. There was no stores that you could buy it from. So those guys, those men, or those women of that time that you saw with those big fur coats on and those big fur boots, do you know where they got those fur coats and those fur boots from? They literally, and it wasn't guns and stuff back then. It was like knives and swords and spears and stuff like that, because that was the earlier weapons that they made, right? These Vikings, in order to be warm in the winter, you literally had to go and kill an animal that had one of those thick coats. And a lot of times it was like buffalo, bears, and stuff like that. The only way that you would be able to survive the winter without freezing to death is you had to go toe to toe with a bear. And you had to take that bear out and then cut that bear all open and remove that coat and take the bear paws and make you gloves, take the bear, legs and make you boots, and the rest of the body and make you a coat. Those are the individuals that were respected at that time, because you wasn't going to go up against a bear and slaughter a bear. Like, come on, man. You got a knife. A bear got claws, and you wasn't going up against an animal like that and slaughtering them and being able to make a coat and boots and gloves to give to somebody else. So the only people that had those coats, those, that warm attire, was those that went out, that put their life on the line to get it. It made you a different kind of individual. And so the person that introduced me um, you know, to the liking of that era, he would say something. He would say, um, you only eat what you kill. We're not talking violence, though. We're not talking violence. The saying meant, in a nutshell, you're only going to get out of life what you put in. So that's what I want to leave y'all with today. As I leave this live, um, think about life like this. You're only going to get out of life what you put into it. What you put into it is what you're going to get out. So if you put positivity into life, that's what you're going to get out. If you put negativity into life, that's what you're going to get out. If you treat people bad, there's going to come a point in time where people are going to treat you bad. Because everything you do comes back around to you. That was, one of the famous sayings when I was growing up. Be careful how you treat people. Be careful how you treat people, because how you treat people is going to come back around to you, you know? So let's try to focus more on being a blessing instead of a curse. Let's try to focus more on being somebody that's going to encourage and inspire people instead of being somebody out here that's acting like a fool, you know? Let's try to be a little bit more patient, a little bit more understanding, a little bit more tolerant. I know it's hard because, there are some days that I have off days as well. What goes around comes around. Exactly. Exactly. So anything that you do is going to come back around to you eventually. It's just the way life work. It's just the way nature work. You gotta understand that. And some people be out here doing things, and thinking that it's not gonna be consequences. You know, some people be out here doing things and getting away with things and thinking that it's gonna be like that forever, and it's not. Even the people that's out here, that's not living right. They think that, they're gonna be living their best life for the rest of their life. Reality is going to sink in at one point or one time and another. And remember, just like Uriah just said, what goes around comes around. What you put into life is what you're gonna get out of life. How you treat people is how people are gonna treat you in the long run. Consequences and repercussions, exactly. Every action has a reaction, and karma is real. Karma is real, you know? Um, but thank you for joining. Thank you for joining in the discussion today. Thank you for joining the live. Uriah, shout out to you. Thank you. I appreciate you, for the comments, for sticking around, for interacting. I always get some jewels and some knowledge for you. Always pick up, some nice tidbits from you. And hopefully I was able to impart some to you as well. Thank you for everybody else who participated. Thank you for those spectators that may have just popped in and popped out, got a little whiff and decided, well, let me hear some of this, or even the ones that said, this is not for me. Look, we are soldiers of the Creator, right? And our goal, our quest, and our mission is to become our best possible self. And how we do that is by looking into, listening to, and learning from all kind of different information that's available. It could be information from a spiritual standpoint. It could be information from a religious standpoint. It could be information from somebody who have a lot of knowledge. But this is what we're trying to create here on this channel. We're trying to create an environment where people can grow, people could prosper, people could come in, and they could learn some. They could learn some things, and they could engage in some of these discussions where they have a positive experience. And that's what we seek to accomplish every time. So again, thank you. God bless. Appreciate you for everybody that checked in. Everybody that was a part of the live, the discussion, and I'll definitely see you again. I'll definitely see you again tomorrow at 10 p.m. I'm gonna try to make 10 p.m. the time that we go live because it seemed like that's working. So for anybody that don't have their notifications on, you could come check in tomorrow sometime at 10 or after 10, and we gonna be in the building. God bless. I wish everybody a great evening. I wish everybody a peaceful evening as well as a blessed morning. And I'm going to catch up to you on the next one. It's me, your boy Tyrone Hunter, and this concludes another edition of What's Really Good Entertainment. Blessings.